How to find wholesale-friendly title companies. It's crucial that you work with wholesaling-friendly investor title companies. It's crucial that you do this. Not all title companies are created the same, and not all of them want to do business with wholesalers or investors. In this video, I'm gonna be going over the 7 points. Now guys, don't use these as bullet points to just send over in a document over to a title company. These are things that are gonna intrigue conversation. It's not to just have them review and see if they like it, but we're gonna be going over the 7 things that you need to physically discuss with them so you can have a conversation to see if they're gonna be the right fit. All right, number 1, the title company. They must guys, there's no any way around this, they must be familiar with double closings and or assignment agreements. If they don't know what that is and you have to describe or define what those transactions are, you're already working with the wrong title company. Now, why is there 2 different kinds, the double closing or just the assignment agreement? Each state, again, defines real estate differently, and some of them are as simple as putting a home under contract and just assigning it to a cash buyer. Other states are like, no, you can't do that. You don't own it. You got to close on it first. And so that's where the word double closing comes from. And that's where you simply borrow like just transactional funds from individuals or hard cash lenders where you actually close on the property and then back to back, then you just close again with the cash buyer. You own it for just a fraction of the time. But make sure your title company's aware of those 2 types of transactions. One of the big reasons why people go with us is because of how we bring speed and we bring convenience. So homeowners that are looking to sell their home at a discount, they're willing to do that, again, because we bring that speed, we bring that convenience. And one of them is that we're willing to pay their closing cost as well. So with a transaction, there's gonna be 2 sides. You got the seller's closing cost and you got the buyer's closing cost. Your title company must be familiar with how to pass both of those closing costs onto your end buyer, your cash buyer. You're not gonna pay it as the wholesaler, but nor is the homeowner gonna pay it. That is one of our negotiation strategies that makes them go with us versus anyone else. So be sure your title company is well aware of those closing costs. Number 3 is a buyer, your cash buyer. They can't pick their title company. They have to use your title company. So if you're gonna be using a title company and your cash buyer calls them and says, hey, we're not going with you, we're going with our title company. Your title company has to alert you and they have to stand up for you and say, no, not with this transaction. Everything goes here. We talked to Cody or whatever your name is. We talked to them. They said everything has to do with this title company. Don't allow them to use their own title company. Why? Because you lose control of the process. Now you don't know the other title company. You don't know if they're familiar with these discussion points that we're gonna be talking about. You don't know if they know what a double close is. You don't know what their time frame is to do all the title work. You lose control. And this will ultimately be the thing that can kill your deal. Now, number 4, let's get into this. And this is crucial because it's that speed and convenience thing. Most of these closings that we're talking about with homeowners, they happen much quicker than the traditional transaction. Meaning, if someone lists it with a realtor, they're gonna be about 45 days from the moment it gets on the market to the moment it closes with a retail buyer. These individuals are looking to close maybe in 3 days, 7 days. And so the time frame, that turnaround is much quicker. And it's crucial that your title company knows that when I send over this purchase agreement, that you start the title preparation right then, day 1. This is not something you can put in a folder and wait a week, 2 weeks, because the closing could happen in less than a week. So make sure that they are aware that they've got to pull it. Now, because of that, we put multiple homes under contract, and there is an occasion where a homeowner backs out of the contract, or because of title work, it's not gonna work because there's too many liens or judgments on the property. And after they do the work, we find out, oh man, they're not gonna make as much money as they thought they were, and it kills the deal where you have to cancel the contract. That's okay, but you also wanna be working with a title company that's also okay to do that work for you and not charge you for that service if it doesn't close. Because you're going to be bringing the benefit of closing all your deals with that individual, please don't nickel and dime me on the other ones that don't close. We cancel about 5 to 10% of our contracts, and our title company is totally fine doing all the preparation work, knowing that some will cancel. Be sure you find a title company that'll do the same for you. Now, before we break down the last 3 of these title procedures, I want you to hit that subscribe button while you're here. I want you to hit that bell so it alerts you when fresh new content is out. And let's get going on to number 5. Number 5, the seller is gonna either be closing in person, meaning at the title company, or via mobile notary. It could be that they own a home, let's say where I live, in the state of Utah, but they live in California. They're not gonna fly in or drive in and do that in person. That's something you can do via mobile notary. And those fees that are incurred, those are tacked on the closing statement that's gonna be paid for by your end buyer, the cash buyer. Number 6, when talking to your title company, it's crucial to let them know that they're on top of their game. They need to request a wire, the transfer of the funds, meaning the money that the cash buyer needs to bring to closing, a minimum 24 to 48 hours before the closing deadline to make sure everything's in place so this transaction comes to a close. And number 7, the last one, and it's crucial to understand this, is agents. Agents cannot be paid outside of the closing. So if there's an agent involved, make sure that is in the contract, make sure that's in the assignment agreement, and make sure their fees are in the closing or settlement statement with the title company. We do not want to pay agents outside of closing. That is something that can get you in trouble, and more importantly, can get the agent in trouble. So make sure your title company is aware of that there are every now and again an agent that brings a cash buyer. And it's crucial to let them know that, hey, on this deal, there's an agent. We want to make sure his fees are inside that closing statement. If you do that, you'll protect yourself from any kind of danger between you or a real estate agent. Guys, let me give you a couple tips that can help this process along. I don't want you to go through like old school, like yellow pages or white pages. Those don't even exist. But I also don't want you just Googling title companies that are great for investors. There's an easier way around that and a more effective way. And really, what you'll notice is this world that we live in investing in any state, it's pretty tight knit. And so when you start to talk to people, you'll realize that everyone probably uses either 1 or 2 title companies, and you'll hear those same names over and over and over. And so an easy way to just tap into that is just look up Real Estate Investor Association. That is just a group that meets every month in almost every state and almost every city. So just Google Real Estate Investor Association, and you'll see if they have any in your actual state, your city that you live in. If so, go visit those. They usually allow you to attend the first one for free. But in that room are every realtor, every investor, every wholesaler, every cash buyer, every fix and flipper. They all congregate together, and it's an easy way to just go out there and start talking to them. Say, hey, I'm looking for a title company. Who should I use? And ask 20 people, and you'll realize there's only 1 or 2 that everyone's using. That's already a good head start, so you can make this process that much easier. All right, now with this video, I don't want you to transcribe it or jot down everything we just talked about. So as a free gift to you guys, I just simply want you to click on the link that's gonna give you a copy of this checklist. Again, don't send it over, don't email it over to your title company, but really use it to have a good conversation with your title company. Click on that link so you can get access to that and go find your title company today.